Hello. Thanks, Sean. My name is Ameen Soleimani. Today I'm presenting Woman, Life, Freedom on behalf of Iran Unchained. I'm out of breath right now because I just went and downloaded all of this. I had to run all the way out into the parking lot for my tethering to work, but we're all set. So thank you for joining us. Trigger warning, this contains brutal violence and blasphemy. If that's not okay with you, you might not want to see this. Her name was Mahsa Amini. She was stopped by Iran's morality police for showing her hair, and then she was beaten to death in their custody on September 16th, 2022. Her death triggered our revolution. Her name is our code. This is Nika Shakarami. She's burning her headscarf on a car, inspired by Mahsa Amini's death. She went to a protest. She was missing for 10 days before her parents found her body in a morgue. They were not allowed to autopsy her body, which is usually what happens when there has been rape or the organs have been removed and sold. The officials said she fell off a roof, despite her nose and skull being bashed in. Her body was forcibly buried far away to prevent a large funeral in Tehran. Her parents were arrested at her funeral and forced to give public confessions that Nika killed herself jumping off the roof. Iranians are risking their lives protesting to send a message. They do not want the Islamic Republic. They reject the Islamic values of being anti-women, seeing them as breeding stock and justifying executing prostitutes and homosexuals. They're anti-life, promoting child martyrdom and executions without due process, and anti-freedom, with a government that has full authoritarian control. The chart on the left shows the number of people who would vote to keep or not keep the Islamic Republic if they were able to vote in a referendum. And this is people in Iran. So 80% of people do not want the Islamic Republic. This number is actually up 10% just in the last 2.5 years. And another interesting stat from this set of polls is if you look at the male-female breakdown in the punishment section, females are twice as likely to prefer revolutionary executions for the perpetrators of violence of the Islamic Republic. And note, that is not the death penalty by a fair court. That's just executions revolutionary style. Be our voice. The Iranian government shut down the internet. Iranians risk their lives when they speak up. There's 15,000 Iranians in jail, including most of the leaders, athletes, professors, musicians, artists, community leaders. And so it falls on Iranians outside of Iran to be their voice. I'm going to play a video for you guys right now. Quick intro to this video. These are all scenes filmed inside of Iran in the last 6 months. And this song is called, the Shalach means whip. And the point of me showing you this is to show you the general cultural shift that's been taking place. You can follow along on the papers that we handed out, the lyrics.
با این نسل نمیتونید در بیافتید. این نسل یه نسل شیک، یه نسل تیز، یه نسل تازه، نمیرقصه با سازی، با ساز ما نمیسازه. نسلی که جواب سلام فرماندتم نداده به شما بی اراده، میگم به اونا نسل کامل. زن و مردیم کنارم، این یه اختاریه داره. گشت ارشادتون گیره پشت ترافیک ماه. بفرست چیره خارت اینجا هزار بی نقابه. کف خیابونیم ولی ببین صدا میره تا به از شیر آستانا شناسی که اعلامیه داد. این بار موی آزاد میرقصه توی بازی باد. قانونی که پا میذاره رو تو بذار زیر پات. با اختیار زندگی کن بگو حجابی حجاب، حجابی حجاب، حجاب حجاب حجابی حجاب، حجابی حجاب، حجاب حجابی حجاب. با اختیار زندگی کن بگو حجابی حجاب، حجابی حجاب، حجاب هجاب هجابی هجاب اونه که دست حقی ران وقتش پس بدی موی آزاد میدرخش دیگه تمام دوران بردگی تابان آره ولی باشه میدیم میسوزیم ولی ستاره میشیم نه قانون و نه آیه دین آزادی رو توی تال دیدیم هجابی هجاب 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 هجابی هجاب هجابی هجاب 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 هجابی هجاب یه نسل شیک یه نسل تیز یه نسل تازه نمیرقصه با سازی با سازمان نمیسازه
ما از زندگی این تو سری نیست دیگه به زور نمیرم زیر این رو سری هیست آهای دشمنای 40 ساله مردم ایران دیگه وقتشه بفهمینی ظلمون در این نیست به قول شیرزن گرگانی تو این لچک و این قوانین ارگانی موامم شلاق میشن تو صورت تالا خوددانی عربده بکش جر بده خودتو برام اسلحه بکش من ته جهنم و میخوام بدون شما تو هم اسم تو بنویس بالا سردر بهش تو کی هستی جانی یه مزدور سپاهی یه بسیجی مخلصی که نزدیک پایانی خیلی دوست داری که منو خاک کنی از ترس ولی خواب میبینی میشم واسه کابوس هر شب این اجباری که رو سرمه اسلحه شده حالا اشهد تو بخون بلند زاروی بدبخت هجابی هجاب هجابی هجاب 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 هجابی هجاب هجابی هجاب 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 هجابی هجاب هجابی هجاب هجابی هجاب
So that was a song by Tumaj Salehi. He has 1.2 million Insta followers. He's pretty popular. He's my favorite rapper now. And he is also being tortured in prison where he's been in solitary confinement for the last 4 months. He has a broken leg, broken hand, can barely see out of one eye, and probably has brain damage. Videos of his torture were leaked on purpose to send a message to his followers. Because all of the people that are supposed to be leading this revolution are in jail, we are left with whoever is outside of the country to try and rally international support. Here we have some of the most outspoken supporters of the revolution. We have Reza Pahlavi, the exiled crown prince of Iran, Masih Ali-Najad, who's a journalist and an activist, Nazanin Boniadi, who plays Bronwyn in Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. You might have seen her, it's a great show. And Hamed Esmailion, who is a dentist and now also an activist. There was a Munich security conference a couple weeks ago. The Islamic Republic was not invited, and in their place, Reza, Masih, and Nazanin were able to go and promote the cause of Iranian freedom to other world leaders. There was also global protest in solidarity with the protests and strikes in Iran. This is one from Berlin that had 80,000 attendees, and it was organized by Hamed Esmailion. After the USA assassinated General Soleimani, no relation, Iran responded by blowing up Ukraine International Flight PS-752. Hamed's wife and daughter were on the plane, and he has made it his life mission to achieve justice for his family. And you can see this meme, how it started, how it's going. How it started is he was basically protesting in the streets of Toronto by himself, and 3 years later, he's organizing rallies of close to 100,000 people. The goal of these protests is to overthrow the Islamic Republic and establish a secular government aligned with women, life, freedom. You can see on the chart that this is for people who answered that they do not want the Islamic Republic. They ask, what do you want? And they have different preferences: presidential republic, parliamentary republic, constitutional monarchy. But all of those have in common that they are secular forms of government. Personally, I don't have a strong preference. I just want the Islamic Republic gone. Happy to work with anyone who shares that goal. Let's talk about how Ethereum and Web3 are helping. Big thanks to Vitalik for being an early supporter of this cause, just like he was, Slava Ukraine on like day 2 of the invasion of Ukraine. First and foremost, money. The rial has lost a lot of value pretty quickly. Iranians have been pulling their money out of banks, buying dollars, gold, Bitcoin, really whatever they can get their hands on. They're trying to eliminate the seigniorage revenue for the government that is abusing them. And they're also trying to protect themselves against their bank accounts being closed down, because if you're protesting and you get caught, they'll go steal your money. One of the most popular cryptocurrencies in Iran is Tether, USDT on Tron, and I still think Ethereum deserves some credit for that because Tron is basically a fork of Ethereum, so Ethereum still did all the work. Another way that Web3 and Ethereum are helping Iranians is through digital art NFTs. These are all NFTs that I bought from Iranian women in Iran. I went on a shopping spree on Christmas. I meant to buy $5,000 of art. $17,000 later, I bought a lot of art. And I only bought maybe something like 2% of all of the art that people recommended I buy after they saw I was going shopping. One of the artists I missed that I remember seeing her art and thinking it was really good died suspiciously after she tried to exit the country later that week. She was going to Belgium and they stopped her at the airport and no one ever heard from her again. So one of the things that Web3 can still do to help is social recovery for wallets, because it would be cool if I could buy her art, but I don't know where that money is going. I don't know if it's going to her family or if the wallet's just lost. Other ways that Web3 and Ethereum can help. These are CoinDesk headlines. So Consensus offered a grant program to help Iranian women learn Solidity. They were offering classes open to Iranians and offering scholarships to cover the cost of the course. Oh, wait. They banned everybody from the class because of worrying about sanctions. Okay, well, at least we have Gitcoin grants, where Iranians are able to fundraise on Gitcoin for a Farsi language Solidity course. Actually, they also kicked off that grant from Gitcoin. Okay, well, we have POAPs. So Iranians can use POAPs to coordinate with their communities by distributing POAPs to supporters, helping onboard new users, teaching them about NFTs. Wait, a Canadian podcast tried issuing POAPs to their supporters, and POAP shut them down too. And then when the Iranians complained, the POAP team locked the forum thread. So I'm actually also in the wrong here. Around this time, I was defending Gitcoin Consensus and POAPs. This guy, Meti, who's now a friend, was saying that, Consensus, you should practice what you preach. And I was saying, like, maybe you guys should leave Iran, or, I don't know, overthrow your government or something. And the thing is that we were all traumatized by Virgil's being convicted for conspiracy to violate international sanctions. So I understand where they were coming from and where I was coming from. But I think now we want to move forward and make sure that we are not being as over-compliant. I want to give a shout out to Giveth, because they never wavered, and they were always willing to support Iranians and raising funds through Giveth. I also want to give a shout out to Shayan Eskandari, who I met a few years ago when he was on the Consensus Diligence team auditing Moloch version 2. He's been a big promoter of the Iranian cause and trying to fundraise for these things, even a couple of years ago when I was arguing against him. So sanctions over compliance. OFAC recently issued the General License D2 update. The intention is to increase support for Iranian freedom in Iran, and it explicitly allows the export of free and fee-based internet and software services to Iranians. And so I am grateful for Consensus readmitting Iranian students. They did a lot of homework to figure out what they could and could not offer. They can't do tutoring and grading, but they have done a good job trying to make their coursework as accessible as possible. Gitcoin also, after talking with them, they said they would work with our NGO for future fundraisers and let us handle the compliance, which was also a positive development. And we're happy to work with POAP because I believe that POAPs also should fall under internet services, which is now exempt from sanctions. But this goes beyond Web3. So this is a guy named Mortaza. He was trying to do a fundraiser on GoFundMe to fund internet services in Iran, like VPN access, stuff like that. And GoFundMe also shut down his crowdfunding campaign. Either they didn't want to deal with it or their bank didn't want to deal with it. And so that is why we have created Iran Unchained, which is a new US-based NGO raising funds to free Iran. We're doing crypto-first fundraising to avoid bank overcompliance. It's using a Moloch version 3 DAO and a series of Gnosis safes for each grant. We have 15 members of the Iranian diaspora as founding members, and we can send up to $500,000 per year under the OFAC General License E. And most important thing is that we verify all the fund recipients. We don't want to send money to the Islamic Republic, and nobody wants us to, but we have to provide the receipts so that we can provide quarterly reports to the US Treasury. And the things that we're looking at funding first are things like newspapers, food, VPNs, Starlinks, ETH conference subsidies, and etc. There were some technical difficulties that prevented us from getting our grants website fully online. The graph was down. And so you can use the website to create grants and fund grants. And the first one that we are actually planning on funding is a newspaper in Iran, a daily newspaper called Zan Zendegi Azadi, which is Woman, Life, Freedom. It's becoming more popular and doing great work. So how Ethereum and Web3 can help more are better resources for managing social recovery, like I talked about earlier. zk voting systems. This is possibly one of the most adversarial environments you have. You can't really use your real name for anything. So zk is not like a nice to have, it's an absolute requirement. Other things like delegated democracy are cool. The Iranians had a whole social media campaign where people delegated their vote, so to speak, to the crown prince. They said, I am delegating my vote to you. And it was just like an Instagram post or a Twitter post. But it would be pretty cool to do that in using an actual delegated democracy setup. Other things are IPFS Swarm SIA, immutable documents, app hosting. I know Iranians are already using this, and some that plan to use this for being able to host their applications without needing centralized servers. And another more ambitious way that Ethereum could help is, why don't we just put the government on some smart contracts? So, you know, one day, a dream of mine would be to make the constitutional monarchy.sol, contract. Maybe Cheyenne can help audit it, and I'll throw in a rage quit somewhere. So, and finally, we're gonna throw ETH Tehran, and it's gonna be the most lit Ethereum conference ever. Thank you. You can connect with us. Our Twitter is Unchained Iran. Our DMs are open. If you would like to contribute, please get in touch. Our email is IranUnchained@ProtonMail. Our website is IranUnchained.com. Look out for more grants coming up that you can help support and promote. And yeah. Thank you all for your time. This is actually a fun flag. The current Islamic Republic flag says Allahu Akbar in this script here, but this says Zan Zendegi Azadi. So it's like a combination of the lion and sun flag of the monarchy, but also with the woman, life, freedom. I found it, I liked it. So yeah, thank you all for your time.